Hey guys, we're gonna see if this guy, Lucas, actually has a question that has not been answered on the YouTube channel or not. I get a lot of people that hit me up in my DMs and they go, man, I can't find this answer anywhere. I've looked. Let's see what he's saying. I don't know what he has going on other than he says he has a subject to deal that he's struggling with and nobody seems to have the answer. So he says he wants to call the creative finance master. I don't know who the creative finance master is. Me? Okay, let's see what Lucas has to say.
This is Lucas.
Hey Lucas, it's Pace. How you doing?
Oh my God, so much better now.
Tell me what you got going on.
All right, so do you want me to just ask you my problems or do you got time for the backstory?
I don't care about the backstory.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think I'm able to use one of those companies you always talk about that, you know, mortgage paid or whatever.
Yeah, servicing company.
Servicing company. So I don't think I can use one in this situation because it's a small hometown bank that I've subtoed a loan that was a personal loan that they bought the property with instead of like a normal mortgage company or whatever.
Okay.
My question is, should I use my bank's bill pay to make sure that payment goes into their account every month, or should I have the owner go in and personally change the account that they draft the payment from at her bank to my account information?
That's exactly what you should do.
Okay, so let me circle that. I wrote all this stuff down on a piece of paper.
Why do we use a servicing company? Now, the reason why we use a servicing company and why you don't necessarily need to use one here is number one, when the seller says, well, how do I know the payments are being made every single month? Well, the answer to that can be a lot of times the servicing company. Number two reason why we use a servicing company is if I ever have to show proof to, let's say this seller sold to you subject to, and that seller then goes off to try and get another loan, and the new lender says, well, how do we have proof that you're making that payment?
Okay.
Then a servicing company is an additional value or an additional stamp of approval on that payment being made. A third reason why you use a servicing company is, let's say you buy this house subject to. You then go and you sell it off as a wrap. Are you selling this as a wrap?
I am.
Okay, this is where your problem's gonna come in. If you sell this as a wrap and you just sit there as the lender on this deal, you'll never run into a problem.
Okay.
But if you decide one day that you go, you know what, I don't want this little cash flow payment anymore. I just want my equity out of this deal. I'm gonna sell this note off to somebody else at a discount. Are you tracking me on that?
I am.
They're gonna wanna see that it has been serviced by a servicing company in order for you to fetch top dollar for that note.
Okay.
If you go, I'm just gonna hold this thing and cash flow it forever and I don't really care about ever selling my note, then the answer is you don't need a servicing company.
Right. Well, I've actually already have the buyer. He's already put like 10 grand down and we've got a 6-year wraparound mortgage on this thing already in place. As long as he doesn't, you know, default on his end, I mean, I'm just going to let this property go to him, you know, after he pays.
You're gonna wrap the property.
Yes.
You don't plan on selling your position. You're just gonna keep the cash flow for the next 6 years.
Correct.
Perfect, then you don't need a servicing company. Just have it drafted out of your account instead of his.
Perfect. Next question, insurance procedure. So I don't hit the due on sale clause.
Yep.
Exactly how do I need to set that up? Do I need to have the person I'm wrapping to create a second policy and add the owner as a rider? How do I do that?
Yep, that is correct. So you and the owner would be as an additional insured, okay?
Okay.
So the new buyer needs to get a policy before you close escrow with them. There needs to be an existing policy in place once they close escrow.
Okay.
You will have 2 policies for a short duration. The existing policy that's in place right now and the policy that you're telling your buyer to go and grab that will cover you and the original seller. About a week to 30 days. And some people are like, well, why a week and why 30 days? Well, it just depends on when you have time. Just wait at least a week and have the new insurance company call the bank and say, we would like to replace the existing insurance policy with the new insurance policy. We represent the property management company.
Okay. So basically in a week to 30 days after close of escrow, I'll just have the new insurance.
Call the mortgage and cancel the existing insurance in place. You'll have only one insurance, which is from the new buyer.
Got you. Next question. And this is the only one I found in the state of Arkansas that would do a sub-2 deal. My title company told me that there's no need to record the seller finance purchase and sell agreement where I'm wrapping it to this guy. They said all that they need to do is is just do the Subto purchase and sale agreement and insure it and everything. They said they didn't need it at all, the seller finance part of the deal.
Of course they do, because that's your note, right? How much more are you selling it to this buyer than what you bought it for?
I bought it for basically 22. I'm selling it for 35 at 9% interest.
Okay, so you have a $13,000 note essentially at 9% interest.
Okay.
That second note and deed of trust that is owed to you absolutely needs to be recorded against the property 1,000%.
Okay.
There's no way around that. How else do you secure your position as the lender for that $13,000 at 9%?
Okay, I got you. And then, see, this is a double wide on 1 acre. And I don't believe it's on a permanent foundation like a slab or whatever.
Okay.
And they said they would not insure title insurance. They would not insure the mobile, but just the land. Is that an issue?
Title insurance does not cover the property. It covers the work and the escrow process that they put together. When you're insuring something with title insurance, you're not insuring the property. That's what property insurance is for. Two completely separate things. Title insurance is something that you pay for to verify and make sure that your escrow company did the paperwork and handled the transaction properly. And the title insurance guarantees that with an insurance policy. Okay, so there's a lot of people that will buy subject to and seller finance deals and they'll go, you don't need a title policy because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, always, always, always buy a title policy. You're not insuring the property. You're ensuring that the escrow company or the closing attorney actually did their job correctly.
Okay.
So imagine this. If you buy the property, your title company tells you, hey, there's no liens, there's no encumbrances, there's no issues whatsoever. You're good to close escrow on this thing. And then a year later, by the way, this has happened to me multiple times. A year later, a phantom lien pops up that nobody saw. If you have title insurance, guess whose fault that is? That's the title company's fault. They missed it and you bought an insurance policy to protect yourself against that kind of crap. If you don't have a title policy, then one of those things pops up, or maybe one of the girls at the escrow company screwed up the paperwork. Guess whose fault that is? That's your fault because you did not get a title policy to ensure that the transaction was done properly.
Gotcha. The last question on this, I think, is the mobile home that's on this 1 acre. All they had when we first started this process was a surety bond. We've already sent it off to the revenue office and they're sending it back to the bank, the new title. It actually has a title to the trailer.
Yeah.
The bank is holding that title. Is that okay?
Yeah, again, this is a mobile home, right?
Right.
And so technically this is a vehicle, right? And
Okay.
so they have a title just like a car. And once that house is paid off, that $22,000 Subto loan is paid off, then that title gets released to you.
Okay. And do I need a copy of that before proceeding?
It would be always nice. The more records you have, the better, but you don't need that. For me, the main thing I would want you to do is, let's say that the seller of this loan is deceased, right? In a year or 2 years or whatever else. Do you have the ability to request that surety bond or that title to that vehicle? Because this is a vehicle, not a house.
Right.
Do you have the ability, when it's all the way paid off, does it get issued to you, the title, or does it get issued to the seller?
How would I know, or how would I set that up?
Brother, this is the easiest answer to all of our questions here today.
Okay.
What is it?
I don't know.
Power of attorney?
Oh, so I need a limited power of attorney.
Never, ever buy a creative finance deal, seller finance, subject to, novation, anything. Morby method, nothing. You don't buy anything with creative finance without a limited power of attorney to handle the dealings of that property individually. That seller passes away, you never want to be in a position where you need that seller's signature.
I don't have a document for that. Can you send me one?
Are you a student?
No.
Then what the flying are you asking me to send you documents for?
Can you give me an idea of a place where I can go?
Go hire an attorney and pay them $5,000 like I did.
I got you.
I mean, I hate to do that. Like, bro, I have so many students that don't get phone calls like this with me. You've got a phone call with me. I just answered 5 high-level questions for you in less than 11 minutes.
Yeah.
I just gave you $20,000 in value. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And if I go into this without that document, I'm screwed, right?
You could be, yeah. I mean, think about it. Your seller of the subject to deal dies. Then 6 years later, right, the trailer's paid off, everything's paid off, and you go to the bank and you go, give me my title now. Now that it's paid off, give me the title. And they go,
Right.
oh, I'm sorry, the previous seller has to give signature that that title goes over to you. And you go, but that person died. And they go, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. We sent it to his next of kin. Now you have to go fight the next of kin because you had no power of attorney.
I got you. Well, I will say this. I know it's neither here nor there, but I do have a subject to. I just got under contract today as well. It's my second Subto. I'm actually assigning that to a buyer for 10 grand, and I am going to come into the Subto program.
The Subto program's sold out, bro.
It's sold out already?
Already? It's the most popular mentorship on planet Earth.
I didn't know. I've been talking to one of your guys. I hope I ain't about to get scammed. I've been talking to a guy that says like he could get me in over the last 3 weeks.
There's only like 5 states that are even open. I don't know what the states are, but you better verify that the state is even open.
Okay.
All I know is that the majority of the country is completely sold out. And once we sell out a state, we don't open up any more spots. I would verify with him for sure that that's one of the 5 states that are still open.
Well, I will get back with that rep and make sure. And then if
Who's the rep?
Zach, I think is his name. Let me make sure. Let me look in my phone real quick.
Zach Hing.
Yeah, I think so.
Zach is on my team. Verify with him that that state's even open.
Okay.
Otherwise, go spend that $10,000 on a really nice dinner. Maybe 100 nice dinners.
Or maybe a limited power of attorney contract.
Yeah, there you go. I can tell you the contracts that I give to the students, we have probably close to 50 or 60 different documents that the students receive. I have spent in probably the last 5 years on getting contracts written, probably close to $300,000 in attorney's costs to get these contracts drafted properly.
Jesus Christ.
Right? So when somebody outside of my program asks me for a document, I'm like, no, that's not fair to my students who, you know.
Yeah, and I didn't mean for any insult whatsoever.
No. I mean, there's a line, right? Like, you now have my personal cell phone. Not all my students have my personal cell phone. You've gotten value that some of my students haven't gotten, where most of my students spend...
Well, I definitely won't reuse it without permission. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. I answer my DMs way before I answer my phone, you know, so...
I got you.
So good luck with that, man. You know, shoot me a message on IG and let me know how it all works out.